Welcome, reality designers. Deni here. Today, I want to navigate the topic of privacy and how human design supports our need for boundaries. How understanding your unique human design can help you identify when and where you need privacy and why it's important for your overall well being. So, in today's fast paced world, it can be challenging to find moments of peace and quiet, right? So, privacy, we just talked about silence and going into the state of silence. Today, I want to dive deeper into privacy because silence and then privacy, they do go hand in hand because we are constantly bombarded with messages, notifications, and demands from others that can leave us feeling overwhelmed and drained. However, understanding your unique human design can help you identify when and where you need privacy and why it's essential for our overall well being. So, it doesn't really matter what your energy type is in human design, according to the human design theory. It really doesn't matter. Everyone needs boundaries. All energy types need boundaries. Boundaries are like fences around our emotional space, if you will. They protect us from harmful energies while allowing positive ones to flow through freely. And when we set healthy boundaries with ourselves and others, and taking time alone and saying no to those things that are not for you when needed, we create more opportunities for growth and self awareness. So, let's say, for example, I'm a manifester. I can speak for manifestors because I'm a 5-1, emotional. Uh, Manifestors have a natural tendency toward independence, but often struggle with feelings of isolation due to their desire, you know, not being dependent on anyone else's approval or support, yet they still want friends, right? By setting clear boundaries around their personal space and time and managing their time habits, speaking for myself, scheduling meetings only during specific times so that, we don't get interrupted unexpectedly during a creative process. And this allows greater freedom without sacrificing autonomy. So, you can't tell manifestors what to do, right? So, when I allow this and create this boundary within myself, only positive things come from it. And generators, they tend to work a lot of hours. They tend to work long hours, but they may also feel guilty about taking breaks because they want to complete a task quickly so that they can move on to something else. Setting boundaries around your work and your work schedule, taking breaks, self care breaks throughout the day will help you feel more balanced and energized with your energy. And projectors have a natural ability to see others' potential, but they might struggle with their boundaries and feeling undervalued or overlooked. And so, by setting boundaries around how much time you spend working on other people's project versus your own projects, you can make sure that you are using your energy in the most productive way possible. And reflectors, they tend to lean toward being empathetic, empathic, and picking up on other people's emotions easily. So, by setting boundaries, clear boundaries, and privacy around that, will be healthy, especially emotional boundaries, by spending time alone or meditating so that you don't become overwhelmed by negative energies from others. So be aware of that. And then the manifesting generators, they tend toward multitasking. They're the multitaskers. It looks on the outside they do it so easily. However, They may find it challenging to focus on one task at a time because of their desire for variety, setting boundaries around that and being private with what it is that you're doing, setting clear goals and timelines, and then keeping those to yourself and staying focused while allowing greater flexibility in managing multiple projects simultaneously. So, understanding your unique design is essential for identifying when and where you need privacy, as well as why it's important for our overall well being. It's like as a manifester, sometimes I'll share a piece of information and it just pisses the other person off. So I have to understand that my energy in sharing certain information has an effect on the other energies. And so when and where I need privacy, I did have to learn the hard way a little bit, learning that telling people things is not necessarily the best thing to do. And being private allows us to keep our personal lives private. And we're going to talk about the many benefits that it has of keeping privacy. But I kind of learned the hard way that not everyone wants what's best for us. And it can be a difficult lesson to accept, especially when it comes to our own family members. So, long story short, my husband and I shared a financial success with a family member. And it was at a Thanksgiving event, and this person became very quiet afterwards. And shortly after, my husband and I were accused of financially taking advantage of another family member. And we were just like, both, what? This financial success we did on our own. We didn't get help from anyone. We didn't take advantage of anyone, and we didn't understand where this was coming from. So we realized that sharing our successes with others can bring out some really interesting behaviors. So years pass and this person dies. And it turns out that my husband and I were not the ones financially taking advantage of this person. The person who accused us of exactly that was doing exactly that. So we learn to keep some of our successes to ourselves. Keeping your personal life private has so many benefits that extend beyond just protecting ourselves from potential harm or jealousy or envy or accusations. And so we learn to remain vague, keeping quiet about certain aspects of our lives. How much money do you make? Do you have plans for retirement? Are you my financial advisor? That's the only person I talk about that topic with. So keeping that private is really a protection for us. But there are so many benefits of keeping it private because people don't get to see your plans, because when they see your plans, they tell you all about how you shouldn't have those plans. And then your plans get muddled and then you get confused and your focus awareness gets lost. So they only get to see the results of your plans. And this will keep them guessing. And it brings on more respect because over familiarity, with the public, it attracts disrespect. And then it draws to you less hate, drama, or toxicity from others. So if you're spewing complaints, expect to get that back to you, right? So when we don't do those behaviors, we don't experience that kind of stuff. And this helps you gain inner peace and genuine happiness without seeking validation. And I say genuine happiness. This is the state of happiness, like the noun. You shift into happiness even though others around you might be unhappy. So you can keep this state within yourself. And then there's the verb happiness. You give me flowers, therefore it makes me happy. But this happiness is a lot of times short lived, it comes and goes. So we're talking about genuine happiness, the state of happiness. And when you're in this state, you don't need validation from anyone else. And when you're private, people don't know how and when to attack you. Like if we stayed private with that, you know, success that we had, this would not have opened us up to attack and accusations. To us, those were some serious accusations. We took it like, oh my gosh, we would never do anything like that. But it turns out that person would. So sometimes those accusations, when you're private and somebody accuses you of something, and yet you're private and they really have no idea what's going on, those accusations can actually become confessions. So pay attention to those things, because once you're private and other people know it, they trust you, especially with their personal lives. And you don't have to depend on other people making you happy or you making other people happy. And it saves you from so much of the drama llama. It keeps the drama llama so far away, you can't even smell it, right? And it saves you from the mental anguish, the emotional anguish of getting involved in these pendulums or egregores or energy vampires, whatever you call it. That's what they are. So when we prioritize your happiness, our happiness, and self growth, it makes life more beautiful, because then people can't use what they perceive as weaknesses against you. However, if you perceive a weakness in you, they may see a button in you and push it. So become aware of those buttons and then integrate those buttons and use waking state hypnosis, the process that we use, and activate that mechanism that is already in your human design. And this builds self confidence. And you become a role model to others, and you train others on how to teach you. So, keeping your personal life private has many benefits that extend beyond protecting ourselves from potential harm. And by remaining vague and keeping quiet about certain aspects of our lives, we're able to maintain that air of mystery, if you will, and intrigue that keeps others guessing. And there are going to be some others that want to ask you all about your life. And it's interesting because even without me asking, others will pretty much projectile vomit their entire life onto me without ever asking. So become aware if you do things like that too, because you want to keep that private. You don't want to spew it onto others and leak your energy all over others. That's not the kind of energy you want to leave on other people. And remaining in this space of privacy allows us to gain this inner peace and genuine happiness. Again, there's no need for validation, and you can prioritize your self growth and happiness while avoiding these issues, while avoiding the drama llama. Keep the drama llama away and remember your purpose and your passions. Bring your focus, attention, awareness back, because the world is going to get you distracted. And it's like, what is my purpose again? Oh, yeah. Here's my purpose. Here's my passion. And this is going to increase self confidence because we're working towards something that's meaningful. When you prioritize what matters most in your life and not let distractions or negativity bring you down, because it can. But when we don't let it, we use the tools and implement those tools when it does happen, because guess what? It's happening. It's happening in our world. How are we integrating it? How are we reacting or responding to it? And it helps us create healthy relationships where everyone feels respected and valued, and recognizing these areas where we need boundaries and creating this space for you. Specifically, knowing your human design can really help you understand why certain situations or people drain your energy levels more than others. For example, if you're an introverted energy type who needs alone time and to be able to recharge after a socializing event or maybe even a counseling event, with others for an extended period of time. You need that time for yourself. This is perfectly normal. And yet, some of us are conditioned to feel guilty about needing to take that time. If your energy requires it, then it requires it. It's normal for your energy type. So we can decondition that programming that doesn't serve you and your energy type. And when we set clear boundaries around these social interactions so that they don't become overwhelming or exhausting, and then we start to avoid social activities, right? And we don't want that to happen. So we then have control over our private lives and feel empowered, which boosts self confidence, leading us to make better decisions. I mean, it's a wonderful ever cycle to be in understanding your unique human design and recognizing your natural tendencies regarding personal boundaries. And by setting up appropriate limits around the areas where you need privacy the most and keeping the other parts open leads toward a more balanced life full of positivity and growth without feeling overwhelmed or your information used against you. So, with that said, I want to know, how are you private with your information? What kind of questions have others asked you, and how did you respond? I know lately my favorite response has been, I don't know. I haven't researched that enough to know or to have a response about that. So keeping it vague has been really a blessing in kind of letting my information leak out, if you will, drain my energy, and then turn around and be used against me. So that hasn't happened in a long time. The story that I told you about happened around 2013, 2014, and that was before I learned about human design and how our energy works. I learned about human design in 2016, and it's been an amazing journey. So, with that said, I want to hear from you. I want to know what you loved, and I want to know what you would love more of. And in the meantime, keep being amazing.